evening to all of you on behalf of IIW and Deega Yoga. Welcome to our brand new podcast series, Deep in Spirit, initiated by IIW, conceptualized and presented by myself, Deepika, founder of Deega Yoga, who would be hosting this wonderful series aimed at interacting and interviewing powerful and inspiring women who are subject matter experts in their chosen field. This podcast is aimed at focusing issues that surround women, womanhood, opportunities and possibilities, solutions to their challenges, and lastly, a big support to all their needs. Our guest for today, our first guest for the podcast series is a certified menopause coach, Sharmee, a licensed menopause champion and IGC chair for women's health, honorable member of WICCI Karnataka Council, contributing towards women empowerment. As a certified menopause champion, she's passionate about building a menopause-friendly society. She believes in raising awareness, breaking stigmas, and fostering open conversations about menopause. Her mission is to ensure every woman feels confident, supported, and empowered to navigate menopause with dignity and strength. Without further ado, let's introduce and invite our first guest for our podcast series. Welcome, Sharmee.
Hello. Hi. Thank you, Deepika. It is such a wonderful opportunity. And I'm looking forward to share whatever I know on menopause, just to keep it short.
Yes,
Yeah.
an absolute pleasure to have you with us today and being our first guest. We are tackling challenges in everyday lives as a woman, but we have to go through even some physical changes forcefully or naturally. It's a natural phenomenon that happens to every woman. So this is a very important subject for today that we have chosen to address women globally about awareness about menopause and the factors surrounding it, the how you can treat it, how you can cope and navigate through the process. It's a phase for all women, I'm sure. But with any awareness and knowledge, I think every woman deserves to know and sail through this smoothly, and they need to enjoy the process of even going through that without any stress. So I want you to help us know first, to start with, every woman has a symptom for their body, I mean connected to menopause. So who can expect it and at what age?
Oh, thank you for giving such a wonderful introduction on menopause already. Yeah, you said some of my work. Yes, it is in general a normal menopause occurs for the middle-aged women. Almost like in the later middle age, you can say 45 to 55. Women in that age group, but it is not limited. There are other things that contributes to it: ethnicity, the socioeconomic factors, so many other things. But this is just an average range that we can talk about for the normal menopause. That is the age for the normal menopause. And yes, like for example, if you consider Japanese, they have the menopause around 55. They are
Oh,
the longest one. Yeah, it's all because of their ethnicity, and they have a lot of estrogen through their foods. That is what I said. It's their habits, the culture, the nutrition, and the ethnicity. A lot of factors add to it. But
interesting.
in general, but for Asian women, the saddest thing is that for Asian women, the average menopause age is 46 average, but it can vary between 45 to 50. Yeah. So considering that we are 5 years ahead of the other population in the world, right? So we should be taking all the more precaution, starting with education and awareness. I can't
Perfect.
insist that knowledge is power.
Perfect. Yeah, well said. But besides age factor, any other factors that may cause early menopause in women? Is stress a reason? Can you just highlight on what are the other aspects of factors affecting women to get early menopause?
Yeah, that's a very good pointer that you touched upon. Because what is trending these days is you see a lot of people getting in, reaching out the menopause. For that, let's understand the definition of menopause is nothing but your periods free for 12 months consecutively. Okay, that is when you are declared in menopause. So this ending of your periods is happening before 40, and that comes under premature menopause, which is on the rise. Previously, it used to be 1 is to 100, but now it is increased to 4 out of 100. Okay, so can you understand this falls into premature menopause, and which is happening before 40 years. If it happens before 45 years, your menstruation cycle stops before 45, then it is early menopause. The reasons could be several things: our lifestyles, our diet, and our exercise. It's completely, and also you can attribute to some surgical menopause, it is called, due to ovarian cancer. So you have to remove the ovaries, and some medical menopause, something like radiotherapy, chemotherapy. All these things can also induce menopause, and these are the reasons for early menopause, which can happen before 40 years. And sometimes, there is no age. That's what it is. Menopause is the biggest myth that I wanted to break here is it is not age related. Sometimes it can happen to women who are in 20s, 30s. Any other factors can also be. So it's more to do with the lifestyle, the surgical menopause, and also medical menopause. So these are the reasons that people are entering into early menopause and premature menopause.
Sure. So there are women who have irregular periods.
Hmm.
As you know, naturally they are not getting their periods very in regular cycles. So they might
Hmm.
not be aware about the symptoms or the signs of menopause. So they must be thinking that it is just some yet another irregular period phase. So how can they differentiate between menopause and
Yes, I get it. It is about the diagnosis of menopause, right?
correct?
Basically, like you pointed out, the most important thing that we want to look out for menopause symptoms in perimenopause is irregularities in periods. But if you already have some conditions like PCOS and PCOD, where the periods are irregular, then you can diagnose it with specific menopause symptoms like hot flashes, anxiety, and vasomotor and night sweats. These are the most typical symptoms that you can look out for. But even if you rule it out, that you can go for the blood test in which the FSH will be high, so that you can rule out any other diagnosis, any other medical conditions, but it is menopause. So there is one blood test, but it all depends on the age. If it is above 45 years, we will not recommend any kind of blood test at all. It is simply the irregularities in the periods, and it is with the some symptoms associated with it, like hot flushes, night flushes. But if it is earlier than 40, then you can always try out a FSH test, which turns out to be higher if you are in menopause. I'm
Sure.
not sure. Did it make sense?
Yes, absolutely. As you mentioned earlier, could we just throw light on some of the common myths of menopause? Like it's not a one size fits all experience, right? So for everybody, it's a different experience.
Yeah, just to understand, I like to keep things from the very common man point of view. Understand that what happened. Periods is not the same experience with every woman. Your pregnancies is not the same experience. Understand these are all the hormonal changes that a woman goes through in her lifestyle, right? In her lifetime, and it's the same case with menopause as well. Yeah. S- Hence, there is a lot of variations, and the biggest myth is that it is age related. For myself, including myself, when it happened to me in my late 30s, everyone around me in my family, including the medical member who was not actually into gynecologist, but they all dismissed my symptoms, including my highly educated husband. Everyone dismissed my symptoms, just thinking that we have the highest myth that it happens in 50s. Yes, menopause happens in 50s. What is menopause? The period stops at 50s. But is it going to stop like an overnight journey? Is it a curtain drop? No, the body prepares for menopause. And that is when the fluctuation happens. That is perimenopause. The stage that happens before menopause is perimenopause, and which has been completely discounted. This is one of the biggest myth. And also, the menopause can be triggered by surgeries. It can also be triggered by medical medications, just like how we discussed, right? So these all can happen any age, right? There is no age related to this. It can happen in 30s if you're having any problems like oophorectomy, any other problems, anything can happen, right? In these days. So that is not age related at all. This is the biggest first myth. Second myth is that everyone thinks that it just affects physically. Yes, it is a physiological change. It is the change in your periods. It is a change in the drop of your estrogen hormone. But you have to understand that our mind and body is related. We cannot separate them. So most women, and I run a community, including myself, the experience is mostly with psychological symptoms. So they completely discount, thinking it's only affecting her physical part. But no, it has more to do with your mental well being. The psychological symptoms are more severe, in fact, for women. And the third thing is myth would be that it is just her problem. We just always think that okay, it is her problem, she can deal it out. Sorry to say that, it does spills out with everyone, with your family and friends, with your workplace, and in the society. There's a big loss if she doesn't if she pulls out and isolate, where she's not being supported by the circle of supports that she has. This is another myth, that it just affects only her. Okay, and I
Okay.
can keep on adding, there is so much, but I just love to stop it here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, it's good to throw some light on the myths of menopause because many people think otherwise, that they are not prepared for it, so they are not able to accept it and acknowledge it. So that is one kind of a phase I have seen some women go through, because it comes as a sudden shock to them that their period suddenly starts to stop and there is some irregularity than usual. So these thanks for highlighting the myths of menopause. So of course there are a lot of resources online. We have a lot of valuable resources, at the tip of your finger, but are they authentic? Are they trusted sources that women can rely on? Or like, you are a menopause coach, so why should they reach out to you for help when they have so many other sources? Yeah.
Yeah, I first have to stay. I call myself, like, I come with three E's, that is experience, expertise through certification, and I extend my support, like with community. And I have a YouTube channel wherein I, interview, have sessions with the experts, like fitness experts, nutrition experts, like vaginal health experts, bone experts. I do some sessions exclusively for menopause, and they don't just get only the coach at that one moment, one to one. They get the expert experience that I come with. I speak from my experience, and then I extend my support beyond the session as well. They can always go back and look at my community to review. Maybe they would have missed out what I'm saying, especially with given the menopausal brain. I totally empathize with them. That is exactly why I believe these social medias are really helpful. But when you come to talk about the trusted resources, it has been become like a big industry. To be honest, that menopause now is the niche business and biggest industry to make money. Everyone is getting into it, especially good that you got this point here. Especially menowash is happening, which means that we are washing away all the products which just comes with the tag menopause. That's it. So there are a lot of things you have to be very careful about whom you reach out, including gynecologists. They need to have that certified menopause qualification.
Oh.
Otherwise, it is not it is a subject that affects you from head to toe. It is not something that you can talk about it. If you ask me, I'm being very honest. For this session, I still prepared for about 3 days continuously. Talking about, thinking about the glucose spikes, and how well, whatever. It is such a vast subject which is under research. It is still being not got all the answers that it deserves, because it affects a woman from head to toe. It's
Absolutely.
always advisable to reach out to the trustworthy person who has the qualification, and also reach out to the trusted resources like NHS, British Menopause Society, International Menopause Society. Everything is there online. If you're looking out for good information resources, please reach out to the because there are a hell lot of advocates on the internet, social media. So how do you trust them? Go and look out for the qualification and reach out to the all the organizations Yeah, like
Sure,
menopause, the
sure.
British menopause.
Sure, that is helpful, Sharmi, because with the waiting, huge waiting, long waiting list that we have with NHS, right? It's very
Yeah, yeah.
difficult to get through them. So I think alternate resources would be to reach out to a menopause coach or who are trusted source who can give people valuable information at the right time because they shouldn't delay attending to it as well. Also, many people are suggested to take up hormone medications around menopause. How safe or how common is that, Sharmi?
Yeah, hormone replacement therapy is nothing but simply replacing the missing hormones in menopause. And what are the hormones that we will be missing? It is the estrogen and progesterone and testosterone to some extent these days. But how safe is that? It all depends. It has been very well advocated these days, even though there have been some controversies some 20 years back due to some researches happen and that prove that it is contributing to breast cancer. But this has all been, ruled out with lots of further researchers. And nowadays, it is very safe because it is a transdermal, which is through the skin in the form of intake of HRT is through patches, gels, and sprays. Previously, it used to be in oral form in the pill, which used to affect cause blood clots and also damage the kidneys. Those are the side effects that we are avoiding because we have the latest things, latest all the I'm not a very great advocate for HRT because I always believe in natural ones, but it is definitely beneficial for women who are experiencing severe symptoms because it is 32 minimum symptoms that where women is tend to experience.
My
So if
God.
she is experiencing severe symptoms, the degree of symptoms is severe, and she's experiencing several symptoms like in the morning, wake up with fatigue, and then loss of productivity, mood swings, irritability, followed by vaginal dryness, followed by brain fog, followed by what else you say bloating. I mean, if she's experiencing lot of symptoms, joint pains, and if the severity of the symptom is more, definitely why to suffer when there is a opportunity for you to to go and to replace the hormone which is missing, and it is proven that it has done the job of taking away, elevating the symptoms, and also contributing to the long term health benefits like bone health, heart health. It is proven to protect them. So it is basically advisable, to be honest. I am in the UK, so I'm exploring that. Can I try it out? That is my idea as well.
So you
So
mean
it,
to
as
say
long
these
as
are
the benefits.
alternatives? You're suggesting alternatives to HRT.
No, maybe my one word would be benefits versus risk. If you can consider taking HRT based on this. If your benefits are going to be overweigh the risk, and if it is taken in the perimenopause itself, you can avoid the chronic diseases like cardiovascular diseases and Alzheimer's and bone health, osteoporosis. These are all the long chronic diseases that can happen in postmenopause. So it is proven to at least prevent these things, and also alleviate the symptoms that you experience in perimenopause. So these are all really, people have been finding it really helpful, especially these days when it is transdermal with the less side effects. Only thing that we would want to stay away from HRT is when you have hormone sensitive cancers. That is when you're not recommended at all, like ovarian cancers, hormone it might trigger. And when you have some previous medical conditions, then you will want to check with your GP how eligible, how much it's going to, the benefits versus the risk.
Yes.
That is the rule and formula for us to go for it. But many people have seen and proven good results with it,
So how do
especially
you
vasomasses.
treat clients who have come to you who have taken hormonal therapy and it has caused as a risk to them? So at that time, what are the solutions you provide to them?
Actually, see, I I'm not a medical to treat them. Okay, I have the resources. I believe in giving them the natural other kind of treatments which involves the lifestyle modifications. Okay, I can suggest them the lifestyle modifications, and I also put them to the experts. Let the experts do their work. Like, the gut health is very, very, very related to managing your symptoms during menopause. So I have a nutritionist who is a gut health specialist. I will do the diagnosis, the initial diagnosis, and I will give them the lifestyle recommendations. But if the severity of the symptoms is more, then I will recommend them to go for the individualized, personalized sessions with experts like nutritionist, gut health specialist, and the yoga therapist, whoever it is. So, but I do the front end diagnosis. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
talking
I have
about
a team.
that, I had a client who was
Yeah.
barely in her 35 or 40. She was pretty young with young children. So she came to me saying that she was advised radiotherapy for suspecting perimenopause. And
Mm.
then she came to me for yoga for a few sessions. And within three, four
Yeah.
sessions, she said she got her periods back. So
Oh,
I
lovely. But you don't need to go for a radiotherapy for that's what there are a lot of misinformation floating around, and you have the help. You have the best. The beauty of this is that we have lots of menopause management. It is not just the HRT. We have non-hormonal menopause management, and we have what alternate therapies like acupuncture, homeopathies. We have complementary therapies. We have non-hormonal medications. There are a lot of things that is available. Herbal medications available. Black cohosh. Many other things are available. It depends on what the person wants to go. And the next thing is that benefits versus risk, right? You can't just if the benefits are not there, what is the point in trying it out? Yeah.
Absolutely. So what you mean to say is mostly lifestyle changes, modification of the way you eat, the way you treat yourself, like you're doing your workouts or maybe taking care of your mental health, and also
There are the
include.
three pillars. The major three pillars for menopause management is lifestyle modifications, okay, and the diet and the exercise, fitness routine. These there are major three pillars which is non-negotiable. Like you cannot say I'm having hot flashes, but the trigger is the coffee, that the trigger is the spicy food, and the trigger is that you're not sleeping well. You are induced, you are putting and adding in more stress, and stress directly, triggers hot flashes.
Great.
Mm.
So now you can highlight the do's and don'ts during menopause. So you know you're going through a certain phase. So maybe you can ease in the journey for yourself, than add more complications to it by including certain things that doesn't suit yourself. Maybe the diet, very basic thing, is to do with the food you eat, the number of hours of sleep that you get. And some people are either doing vigorous workout, or some people just don't do any workout at all. So you can probably share some do's and don'ts during menopause.
Yeah, sure. First, let me start the don'ts because that can register in our mind so easily. I would say start with if avoid the triggers like alcohol, smoking, and what more caffeine. These are the most spicy foods, excess sugar, and high sodium, processed food, ultra processed food. I can give a list. Yeah. And yeah, these are all the things that you can keep in mind to avoid, and also the lifestyle modifications. When you think about this, you avoid stress causing elements. I mean, I know it is easy to say, it is very difficult. And you avoid sleep disturbances, anything that is going to disturb your sleep, right? You have to be very mindful about all these things. And with respect to food, I would say I advise on anti-inflammatory food, that is omega 3, which you can get it from your flax seeds, and antioxidant that helps to reduce the stress, and whole foods. Whole foods means these are complex carbohydrates that releases very slow sugar in the bloodstream. Okay, so glucose in the bloodstream. So that helps for the weight gain and other things. Yeah, these are the do's that you have to have these foods. Omega 3s, good food, good nutrient rich food. I would say omega 3 from flax seeds and fatty fish oil, salmon, and or other stuffs. Now, next would be anti-inflammatory foods like turmeric. Yeah.
Yeah.
Omega 3 is also anti-inflammatory food, antioxidants. Okay. and what more. I just have to recollect. A lot of them were there in the
So that's
plate.
a, you
But
already shared a lot. I mean, basically to do dietary changes,
no, no, yeah.
that is one of the major aspect, and including foods that will help you during menopause and not
But the most
aggravate it.
important thing is exercise.
Mm.
Please be mindful about at least doing 150 minutes of exercise. That can be a variety of exercise, but
150 minutes of exercise in a week.
in a
Mm.
week, yeah, you can space it accordingly so that it is not stressful, because the stress from the workout in this age is not considered the same way what you used to do it before. So it will be taken as another stress. You make sure that you space it out so that you recover from the stress of workout. And the exercise that we advise is flexibility exercises and balance exercises and weight bearing exercises. So flexibility is basically so that you can prevent from fall, and balance exercise also. I'm sure you know about it. Yoga is the most recommended one for that,
Definitely.
and recommend Pilates. You can have a mix of exercises, and resistant exercise is one of the most important thing that I recently came across, which can help bone loss, prevent the bone loss. Yeah, it's so important to get in.
Correct.
Mhm.
So when it comes to treating the menopausal symptoms, or when if any woman is going through menopause, she's treating it as per what the general prescription is, some, because her sources are like that. She takes sources from the internet or from her friends or from her family, without even taking advice from the doctor, because doctors also give a very general medication. They
Yeah,
put
I
in
heard from that she
treatment
got
is
just
something very general for a very common for it. It's
yeah.
like, have a Panadol or something for cold war. But I'm
Mm.
not sure, unless the symptoms are very severe, the medication is very generic. It's not specific. So how can a person differentiate whether she needs a generic treatment or a specific treatment? Can you just share something like that?
It all depends on the symptoms and the severity of the symptoms she's going through, right? If it is a mild one, then she can always just say, okay, my sleep is getting disturbed because of the coffee. Okay, I'm going to cut down on the coffee, right? It is not progressing beyond that. But if her sleep is very much disturbed, like what do you say, fragmented one, and which is disturbing her quality of life the next day, that is when you have to literally think about, is there anything else that is happening? And we have to go for a specific individualized solutions, menopause management, and that requires experts interventions. Something even working on your gut health can improve your sleep. Working on your psychological, what stress are you having any stress? Is there something anxiety which is triggering the sleeplessness? There are many things. You know what, the beauty of this is that you must understand that everything is interconnected. Nothing works in isolation. Yeah, everything is interconnected. The gut health is responsible for your brain health, and it is also the hormone health controls your gut health. There are so many kinds of interconnections. They are working in coordination so beautiful that if you're addressing one part is not just going to be enough. You got to address from different directions, like work on the lifestyle, work on your nutrition, and work on your fitness as well. You cannot say I'm going for hitting the gym, and then I'm going to come and eat all the carbs. Carbs will spike, and then it will reduce the metabolism. It is going to shoot up all the most of the symptoms, elevate it. So it is all a holistic management, we would call in one word. Menopause management is always a holistic management. Did it
Correct.
answer the question?
For a woman, right, she goes through several changes all at one time. So, how can she cope with those changes? For example, as you just rightly mentioned, there is weight gain, there is hair loss, there is sleeplessness, hot flushes. There is entirety of physical changes all at once. So, there are some coping mechanisms that people might not have tried and tested. Okay, they might just be touching the nutrition part of it, or they might have just touched the wellness part of it to an extent, just going for walks. I have heard people say that I just do 20 minutes walking, or sometimes I don't even hear the women doing workouts. Okay, they don't understand it has a direct impact on the psychological mood also. So, can you just share what can be the different coping mechanisms during menopause? As you already have shared and thrown light on making some dietary changes and doing some wellness activities. If you can share more about how they can cope with it, if you have some
See,
more to share.
I have framed a program in my for my coaching is that it all begins with awareness. Okay, if the more you're going to know about your body, the more you're going to know about what's happening in this phase, and that is how you're going to accept about it, right? The acceptance sets in naturally.
Exactly.
Once acceptance happens, what happens psychologically, you are reducing most of the symptoms. Instead of thinking, oh my God, why am I forgetting things? Literally, you're going to the office and you're there in the mid of a presentation or in the beginning of presentation, you literally feel brain fog, which is nothing but a wiped off of memory for a few seconds or minutes. And then what happens if you don't know about menopause? You will be like, just thinking, what the hell is happening to me? Why am I? And your self-esteem will go low. You will self-judge yourself, and that is going to have an impact on your psychological thing and your behavior later in your work, everything else, right? So I would say mentally cope up mentally first, psychologically.
It's more
And that
about acceptance, right? That's what you
that
mean.
happens through education, engaging in a conversation with the community, with the people like me, and then they understand that okay, it's not just happening to me. No, see, imagine even pregnancy was difficulty. It's such a difficult thing, but we all have kids. How did we do it? It's with the awareness, it's with the education, and we had everyone talking about it so that we are accepting it. We were accepting before even we could go through the pain, and then we embraced it, right? So it's such a natural phase. There is nothing to be fearful about it. Once you follow the steps of educate yourself, engage with other women, other things, keep on engaging in this content, and that mind will automatically be prepared, and it will give you a better perspective. It will shift your perspective as well, instead of fear and overwhelming thing about, oh my God, so many symptoms, how is going to happen. And to tell you one thing, not everyone experience so much of symptoms. So it starts with the physical, psychological coping mechanism that actually has some impact on your physical symptoms as well. So psychologically cope up, there is CBT, which is advised by NHS as a parallel therapy along with your physical treatments. Do you know that? And such an importance has been
That's
given
very
for the
important.
psychological,
Yes.
yeah, coping up. Once that is the first step. And what is the next step? I mean, you take up, you be very aware about, you keep the track of your symptoms, and if it is mild, if you can do it on your own or with a coach, you can cope up with that. Get all the three pillars recommendations that you want. You can always do it if it is mild. But if the symptoms are going to be severe, then definitely approach a GP who can give you good guidelines on the different treatment options available for you. If you don't want to go for HRT, you wanted to address it, you can always address it with some other options, which is non-medical hormonal medications as well. So the beauty is that you have enough number of menopause managements. Yeah. So you can cope
Correct.
up.
There are plethora
Definitely.
of options. And it
Mhm.
has to be wisely chosen by the individual, which is very individualistic, right?
And that is when the education is empowering. That is where education comes into play as well. If the GP is talking something which you don't know, but if you're prepared, you'll be more interested, you'll be more empowered to get involved in whatever the treatments options that you are. That's why the information is knowledge is power.
True, very true. First of all, we have to remove the stigma and the denial about things, saying that, no, this can't happen to me, or, you're always in a constant denial mode. Then accepting will become difficult. So that was well said and highlighted by you, that we should start accepting it. And then only we can cope with, whatever treatment that we take, or whatever process we go through to navigate through this menopause. That would be
It has been
helpful.
proven that psychological symptoms, when you reduce your psychological symptoms like anxiety, mood swings, depressions, feeling low, all these things, it has reduced your physical symptoms as well. So much, and I personally only worked on my psychological symptoms. That's it. Now I feel empowered. I don't take anything extra, nothing at all. I just work on my natural three pillars: lifestyle, exercise, and diets. That's it. very conscious, mindful eating, clean eating, keeping hydrated, and avoiding stress, avoiding, keeping a beautiful sleep routine. These are the things, do's that we have to follow I follow for a natural menopause. Yeah.
Correct. I mean, I read somewhere and in another topic which is surrounding this, where a
Mm-hmm.
woman constantly complained about not being able to sleep, and then she was advised by another therapist saying that, it is exactly cognitive behavioral therapy that she needs to do by saying the positive things to herself instead of saying that she can't do something, because every cell in the body would start accepting it at one point, saying that I can't.
CBT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there needs to be some affirmations, and needs to be a lot of.
Hypnotherapy, CBT, there are a lot of things that has been followed. Mindfulness, meditation, a
Yes,
lot of things that we can do it for this. Yeah. Sorry
correct.
to interrupt. I was
Yeah,
excited.
that's right. So that's one of the major factors, I think, because when your mind is calm, it will show in your body.
Oh,
Otherwise,
another one important point I'm telling you. When you accept psychologically, what happens is that you will know how to protect yourself. You will be handling yourself with that self-compassion, and you will know what not to engage into. You will have a clarity about, and the people, for example, smallest thing is that memory loss of memory. And your people around you, your own family members can be teasing, can be just making criticism about it. But when you know what you are going through, it gives you the power to just ignore it, forget it. Either you can go and talk to them and make them educated. But if they're not willing, it gives you the power not to get affected by these things, right?
correct.
You will
So that
carry
is
on with
like
your life
making
with.
peace within yourself first. So you are, sorted. You don't have any problems when any external factors come and affect you or mentally
Yeah,
try to
self-compassion,
aggravate.
everything comes only through education, on this, and
Correct.
yeah, embracing it. You
All said
can't do.
and done, Sharmi, the biggest challenge and, the worry for every woman is I'm trying all means, but I'm not reducing weight. For them, they want to lose weight during this phase or just post menopause. They find it very hard due to inflammation most of the time, right? So they are
Exactly.
finding it very hard to lose weight. So, what are the advice you can tell those women to take it easy or to tell them to listen to their body? You can tell it in your way.
Tell them first thing is that don't do it for weight loss, do it for wellness. Okay, you
Perfect.
don't
Well
have to
said.
be perfect, but you just have to feel the power inside you. So, what is that it requires? Why weight loss is not happening? Don't do it because if you're just only focusing on weight loss, you are missing out something on your nutrition part. And the weight loss program in this menopause, in this transition, because it is not age related, right? In this transition, where your body is going through a what do you call psychological, physiological change, and also biological change. The way the fat used to distribute previously is not the same in this transition. Okay, it gets distributed in the mid region. The way the food used to get processed is not the same. Our metabolism takes a big hit, it slows down. Okay, and that gives a insulin resistance that leads to glucose spikes and the cortisol, our estrogen, which used to
Stress on.
protect the stress for us, which used to protect, which used to act like an anti-inflammatory. We are missing all these things because we are missing the estrogen, right? So in that time, the body reacts and treats the stress as a different from a different angle. The workout, if you think you're going to do an intense workout and get it done, no, the intense workout can add to your cortisol. Okay, what happens here? Then you're adding to the stress, and you're continuing the vicious cycle of insulin resistance and then fat storage in your visceral whatever, yeah, the hip areas. So sorry, my menopause memory is also hitting.
Oh, no, it's absolutely
Just
relevant.
kidding. Just kidding. I know everything. I know, but sometimes say, oh, that's a good example that how do you still embrace it? You don't, I'm not feeling anything about it because this is what I am going through. This is what is happening. So fine, forget it. Yeah. No, so what I say is that it is not the same routine. It is not the same dieting. It is not the same intensity that is required in this transition. It is going to be a complete change of the rhythm. Complete, you still have to, you can still reduce weight, but you need a smarter move. You need a smarter routine. Especially you need to know, take the recovery time in between the workouts. Yeah, you can go for that high intensity cardio thing, but it just do it for 10 minutes, okay, and take a break. Give the body to recover from it. Instead of just, yes, I'm putting on weight, I'm going to hit the gym continuously and lose weight. No, it is not going to happen because the protein requirement is more in this time. And if you are continuously exercising and you're not feeding in the protein, what happens? Whatever protein you have is also getting lost due to muscle loss already, which is prone to happen in menopause. So there is so much of dynamics that is working on. I would advise that go and get a proper fitness routine, curated for you, individualized, and with a fitness professional who has got menopause certified. Yeah, who knows that what is happening. See, you cannot advise a high intensity workout for somebody who has a little joint pain. That means that their joint, the bones are weak, our bones are weakening in this transition. You cannot do some heavy workout that involves more intensity on the more pressure on the joints, right? It is going to deteriorate. So someone who is menopause certified and who can give you a personalized fitness program, it will be really lovely, because the no longer calories in is calories out. No longer the same diet is going to help work out. Okay, so understand this, and you have to change complete dynamics. It's a second innings. Yeah.
Absolutely, because I have clients who also have gone through perimenopause and they're struggling to lose weight. They come to me for weight loss programs. I told them it is going to be organic. Anything drastic is not good for them, right?
Yeah.
And many people undermine the restfulness that they need for their body. They're thinking they're just lying down and adding calories or, this relaxing, but they totally undermine that the valuable time that they give their
Relaxation.
body rest. It's also for the mind. And I also read somewhere that the best painkiller is to take a short nap, 15 minutes power nap. That will really help them cope through the day.
You relax, because you have to cut down. The very first thing I would say is cut down all kinds of stress for you and for your body. Treat it like, it's not just your tool, you are living there. So what it is capable, listen to your body. If it finds it stressful, please disengage. And then if you wanted to still continue, include the recovery sessions, rest in between. These all have to literally, change the exercise fitness routine for the person. And dieting also doesn't work this time. It's not the same routine dieting that we used to do. There's a lot more study. That's what I was studying for the last 3 days. It was so much complex scientific facts that I discovered many things, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, maybe too much information will be overwhelming for anyone going through this already. I think they should just go with the flow. But awareness is important, as we rightly said in the beginning.
Yeah.
Along with menopause, Sharmi, have you come across cases where women have other problems or other symptoms or any other problems associated with menopause?
Associated with menopause, we are very prone in this age. If you consider the normal menopause, we are very much, into that thyroid gland not functioning, that 45 years, and diabetes to cholesterol goes high, because when you miss the estrogen, what used to take care of us, our good cholesterol goes high, and metabolism goes high. All these are the stuff that you have to keep a watch out for. And luckily we have a blood test for all of these to recognize whether it is that one or not. But for normal menopause there is no blood test, because your estrogen is going to fluctuate every week. So if you take this week and take the next week, it's going to be different readings. And what is the point? It's basically decided here by the age factor. If you're above 45, then definitely the symptoms and all those things, ruling out the other medical conditions through blood test, you can confirm it's menopause.
I agree. That's good thing to look for, and also sometimes diabetes surface, as you rightly said, insulin spikes happen, and that's why. So probably that is also one condition to, you can expect around the time and be cautious about. So when these things come in, and that's when care and supplements come into picture, right? So people, I mean, women have to take in the right supplements at that during that phase. So generally, what are the supplements that you think you would recommend?
Yeah, magnesium, calcium, vitamin D. Okay, if you have heavy bleeding, then iron for sure. And what else? I would omega 3 for sure. Okay, yeah, don't miss it out because we don't get the enough one. And also supplements. What more? I generally recommend vitamin D, calcium, and some trace minerals as well, zinc and copper. But basically, these are the five things that is. Vitamin B also is to be included. B12 especially. B12, magnesium, calcium, vitamin D, and the omega 3.
So are they usually prescribed by doctors, or they will only prescribe when there is a deficiency, right?
Yeah, actually, but what happens in new menopause is that you are under a heavy nutrition deficit. Okay, your nutrition needs sky, it just shoots sky high. So you are supposed to take all these things. You don't have to, you can watch out for simple symptoms. You can go and buy it because I'm from India. I don't know about here if it, but when I went here as well to the NHS, they did advise for a B12 checkup. So here I'm not sure. I'm sure that they will be going through the blood test and then prescribe it. But in general, in if you see the symptoms like you are becoming sluggish, little memory losses are mild symptoms, you can always go ahead. But just make sure that you're taking it from the authentic company because it's just been too much of a commercialized. That is why the word has invented meno wash. They are washing away all those commercial products just because they're not doing any good. It's just been yeah, fake products with the label menopause. So this you have to be
Yeah, yeah, that is
watchful.
something to look out for. And yeah, always better to take these things regularly, even while you're hitting the perimenopause stage. So they are able to find some strength when they reach that menopause stage. So, what are the post-menopause care that women ignore? Do you think you have
Uh,
come across?
in fact, postmenopause is getting most of the attention these days. Why? Because if you understand, I spoke about the average menopause age is 46. And are we going to die immediately? No, right? We are definitely going to be living till 70 at least, which is like one third of the life is left ahead for us to live. And then postmenopause is when the complete estrogen is almost to the nil. And that puts us with a very serious chronic disease puts us with the risk of chronic diseases, the cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's disease, and the osteoporosis. So you have to be very much careful about, engage in the proper and also metabolism slows down. What happens here is that the symptoms becomes less, but all these are silent diseases. You would not know till you have a heart attack. You will not know till you break your bones. You won't know till your half 40% of your memory is lost. You know the ratio of the women affected by dementia is 1:4.
Oh.
One, that is the highest killing. Yeah. So the memory loss is, we will only wake up after 40% of the memory is lost. So these are the very silent diseases that is, expected to happen in postmenopause, but it all depends on how well you maintained your perimenopause or prior to that. I would say that the pre-existing lifestyle really is like a karma. What if you invested on your health, you will be able to manage well. So it's like, no, that's why I'm saying if somebody in the 30s or 20s who's listening to this, don't take it for granted. Whatever you put in, you are going to bet its benefit. If you're going to put in processed food, that's it. You're going to end up with diabetes or insulin resistance. So if you're going to take care of your, this is the body we live in. So it's most important to look after it, and we have to survive for 30 years minimum in postmenopause. So all the more important to address the same, to follow the same thing: lifestyle management, diet, exercise.
So
Yeah,
what kind
all the
of
more important.
workouts can that they should restrict from doing? Because nowadays a lot of people are into strengthening, weight training, core strengthening. I mean, they go
I
against their own strengths and their potential to do that. To even because I have a client who tried that and then she came to yoga. She said that it was very painful and she was having knee pain and all that. And she was been doing that for like 5 years now, But now she's going through menopause the last 2 years, and she's struggling to lose weight again, because that's when they also tend to deviate in their diet a little bit, and try to deviate in their workouts a little bit. But they shouldn't be too hard on themselves, is what I feel. So you can tell us, like, how, what are the things, like in terms of workouts, how they can try to make it very gentle for them, not vigorous. So because this is not vigorous workouts, do
Like
not.
I said, the first thing is that mindset. I always believe first begin with the mindset. It is not about the weight loss, it's about your well being. It's about the quality of life that you wanted to continue. You don't want it to go into that high intensity workout and then increase your cortisol, which is again going to make you put on weight only, nothing less. And the weight, the more the weight you put on, it is going to hamper your knees, joint pain is going to improve, is increase. There are a lot of things, the repercussions. Weight management is definitely one of the best thing to do. It is recommended in menopause, but not at the expenses of, overstretching it. So there are other ways of managing it, especially gut health, I would say first. So that reduces weight management, most of the things, anti-inflammatory food and getting yourself dehydrated, prebiotics, so that your digestion is taken care, not bloating. There are many things that you can do with your gut health first. And with respect to the exercises, I would always recommend go for the moderate intensity. Never, and don't miss it out. And watch out for the symptoms. If the pain is persistent, then you have to take the consultation of a proper fitness person to suggest it. It is individualized, dear. Basically, I would say take that individualized session so that you are safe. I cannot sit here and just to say, but I would say moderate exercise for 150 minutes per week. It is non-negotiable. Movement is the key, and eat after, move after your meals. Those are the smallest simple things that you can do. But don't stress. Listen to your body. If it says no, be kind with it. That is the
Absolutely.
best thing because you're not adding the stress against your own. It's like you're treating you're your own enemy as if you cause the stress to your body, right? Don't want that, which has the repercussions of glucose spikes and then weight gain, again metabolism slow. It's a vicious cycle. It is not going to stop. And until you understand it and curate it to specific needs according to the specific persons. Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Resistant
mean,
exercise.
this is such a very sensitive topic and a need of the hour, because awareness is the key. You need to know how to deal with this, how to navigate through the process. And unless we know the do's and don'ts and the knowledge about these things, we would not be able to sail through this, right? I mean, and it's also a matter of acceptance, as we rightly pointed out in the beginning, and how you can cope. And Sharmi has very beautifully shared some insightful information about menopause and how every woman can deal with it. And she's given us a lot of tips to make the process very smooth and simple for all of us. On behalf of IW and Deega Yoga, Sharmi, I take this opportunity to thank you, and it has been an immense pleasure to interact with you, and you have been very generous about sharing so many things in our podcast series. And I would recommend every woman to reach out to Sharmi, because she's a certified menopause coach. And in case for any consultation, you can always reach out to her, because I have seen her advice and her suggestions are much doable. And she's very kind, and she can be very specific about providing solutions to your needs. So once again, I thank you very much, Sharmi, for being with us today evening, and
Thank you for this opportunity.
being the first guest for our podcast series. And this topic is very much relevant to the women for today, women of today. So thank you once again. And
Yeah,
would you
I
like to
wanted to
say
leave
something?
you all with one word. Thank you for the for the IIW group and you, Deepika, for your time and giving me a chance. I'm very glad to spread this information awareness wherever it takes me because this is a need of the hour and every woman should know it, irrespective of the age. Above 18 years, I would say it is a must. You go and talk to your kids also about it because kids should also know about it. The only word I wanted to leave you all with is knowledge is power. And menopause is inevitable, it is natural. You don't have to strive. You can thrive beautifully. And then the moment it all happens, if you follow, educate, engage, embrace, and empower, you feel empowered. So I hear comments like, I feel overwhelmed. So not to worry. We have lots of menopause managements available, and definitely you can thrive. Okay. That's all.
Lovely.
Take
Very
care.
well said. Thank you for signing off this podcast with such a lovely message. So, I don't want to add anything further to your beautiful message that you have shared.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Bye.
Sharmee, to be for having spent your time and being with us today for our podcast series. Thank you.
Thank you all. Take care.
We've come to the end of our first episode on our podcast series, Deep in Spirit, with Sharmee, the menopause coach. I will meet you on yet another episode on Deep in Spirit podcast series next month. This is Deepika signing off until I see you next time. Namaste. Bye bye.